Hey friend, on this week's episode of the Get Shit Done podcast, I'm taking you on a little walk with me and I'm talking to you about practical ways that I have lowered my cortisol and inflammation in my body and stress. As busy moms, it's not so easy to just ditch the stressful things because it's not reality. So join me on my little walk today in this podcast episode and we'll chat all about that.
Hey, I'm Brianne McKenzie. I'm a mom of 4 little kids, teacher of students with special needs, and a health and productivity buff. And this is the Get Shit Done podcast, where I help busy moms learn to get shit done in their lives through everyday, tangible productivity tips and tricks that'll be sure to help you get shit done. Whether you're a busy working mom inside or outside the home, I'll share my how-tos and my step-by-step strategies you need to prioritize what's important in your life and create the energy you need to follow through. Now, grab your earbuds and join me for a mom chat while you're doing the dishes, folding the laundry, or exercising with your kids. And let's get shit done together.
Hey, welcome to this week's episode of the Get Shit Done podcast. I don't know if you can hear behind me, but there's lots of birds and nature sounds, and that's because I decided to impromptu do this podcast on a lovely little nature walk. And I've been doing a lot of these lately because it's been really helpful for lowering my cortisol and really, taking care of some of those stressors that I have in my life. So I thought it would be a really cool way to chat about it while I'm out here doing the exact thing that I'm talking to you guys about this week. So like I talked about in a previous episode about stressors and lowering cortisol, it's really easy for people to say, okay, moms, you got to work on your self-care and that will help to lower the stress, and just, delegate and don't take on those extra things. Put up the boundaries, say no. Okay, in a perfect world, it'd be great. But let's be realistic. Most of us are living life, and all of that stuff are things that we have to work towards and are not happening, on the regular, especially if you're like me and you're a busy working mom. But this past year, I have had some different situations happen that have caused me to have prolonged seasons of stress or higher cortisol and inflammation in my body. And through that, I realized that I did not want to feel that way long term. And I was talking to some other people about this too, because, we all have seasons of life that we go through as moms. And one of these seasons for me really led to me feeling with higher stress. It was around my job and things like that. And I just had to learn how to navigate that because the stressor wasn't going away and my body's reaction to it was not a realistic one. Like, I was in a fight or flight situation all day, every day, when it wasn't necessary to be in that. And that was the thing that I had to almost like retrain my body. So I was having minor stressors like normal in a day, but my body was completely reacting like it was in a panic situation. I wasn't having a panic attack, but just like my body was feeling overly stressed for tiny things, I guess you could say. And I was noticing this over time. It was probably like, a month and a half period. And I knew that I had to do something different to change that. I had to reteach my brain and my body how to react differently. There is a time and a place for that reaction. But what I was going through was not what was needed at the time. So I really dove into understanding that and tried to just kind of take this on myself. I did think that therapy might be a way to go, but I actually was seeing relief prior to navigating that, so I didn't need to, or at least this time. So I'll tell you what I did to help with that. And now that I'm kind of on the other end of that season, I can kind of look back, and this is kind of like a diary of what I could do next time this hits. And I don't know if this will be helpful for you, but maybe the next time you feel like you're in this kind of season, you can listen to this podcast and it might be a little bit of a reminder. Okay, so this first thing that I decided to do was something that I realized the hard way. So the events that were causing me to feel stressed, or the things that were happening, I was rehashing over and over again with my husband, with my friends, with my coworkers, with my family, to discuss and kind of process what was going on during this stressful time. But I was realizing that I was like reliving the events every single time I would retell it. So yes, it's cathartic to kind of get it out. So I started to notice that if I just let it out once, whether it was like writing it down or saying it to my husband or whatever that method might be, to like get it out, that was helpful. But to rehash it over and over and over again was not, because it was causing me to be more stressed. So I decided one day, once I literally felt the physical reaction after retelling a story, that's not my kid, but somebody's walking on this path and their kid's having a normal kid moment, but I'm going to turn the other way so it doesn't interfere with this podcast right now. Anyway, when my body was having this like natural reaction to me retelling it, I realized I was causing some of this stress myself. So I had to be mindful of that and refrain from rehashing and talking about the things that caused me stress over and over again. Yes, great to get it out, but not helpful to talk about it over and over again. The next thing that I noticed that caused my cortisol and my stress levels to kind of spike a bit was screen time. And what I mean by that is two things. One, I was waking up and putting Instagram or something like that in my face as soon as my alarm clock went off. And the next thing I was doing that at night until I went to bed. And then I noticed that I was using it as an escape, as a way to like calm my body when something stressful was happening, but the stuff I was looking at was causing me stress. So I had to recognize that my screen was not helpful in that moment. So being mindful of my screen time was something that really helped to lower that stress and anxiety around just random things, because I would see something on the news and my body would again have this like reaction that did not match the situation, and I would feel really worked up. So if I saw this at night or in the morning, I'm starting my day off feeling like that. So once I kind of made that connection, I was like, okay. I followed some people that gave helpful tips, kind of like how I hope you follow me, who dealt with these situations, cortisol and inflammation, and took some of their advice and put my phone downstairs away from me at night and when my kids went to sleep. And I think I've told you before that Justin and I put the kids to bed and then we don't come back downstairs because that process takes a long time. But then also we just like don't want to like deal with anything else downstairs once we've laid down with kids and stuff. So I could effectively put my phone downstairs more than an hour before I go to bed. And that was really helpful because I was able to process things from the day, but I wasn't getting like that continual spike of like stress and cortisol in my brain and in my body from the things that I would see online. So that was a really helpful tip. So the next thing I tried to do was to calm my brain and kind of recalibrate things by really looking at what my body needed to, maintain normal stress levels. So I would try to get out in the morning for some sunlight for a walk. That really helped me to start the day off, know that it was morning. My brain would get aligned with that circadian rhythm and really understand what its job was to do in the morning. So watching that sunrise, I also have a sunrise lamp that would help to wake me up. I still do that. So it kind of like teaching your brain, like, this is time to get up. So the sun kind of did that, and that helped because it was like coming to springtime. So it was sunnier in the morning, and I could take advantage of that. So I would, in effect, get some artificial light in the morning just by that wake up, but then also start off with the sunrise. And then I would also do some supplementation. So I spoke with my naturopath and she talked to me about different things that can really help to give your, like, stabilize basically. So I started implementing using L-theanine. So it was a supplement. I'm not giving advice. You can check it out yourself, but it does help to calm your nervous system. So you can get it through drinking green tea, but you can also get it in capsule form. So I was doing that. I am doing that as well. So the combination of that and the sunlight, the vitamin D, and all of that was really helpful to, like, just stabilize things for me. So with all of this extra time from not scrolling and waking up earlier and getting some great sunlight and taking advantage, I had some more time, and I knew that I needed a distracting hobby that wasn't going to cause me stress. And so I decided to do some hiking, which also really goes in alignment with some of the suggestions out there for lowering cortisol, which is getting out in nature and grounding and all of that stuff. So it was my birthday in April, and I bought myself some hiking boots, and I took myself out for a lovely hike, and I made an effort not to distract myself by a podcast or anything like that. And I just listened to the sounds of nature and all the things that were going on around me and the smells. And I walked and hiked long enough until I didn't worry or think about all those other things. So that was, like, on my birthday, I treated myself to that. And I think I hiked for about 2 hours, and before I would turn around and come back, because I said to myself, I'm hiking until I don't care. I'm not worrying about any of the things that are going on right now. So it took me about 2 hours, but it was almost like a little shock to my system that was good and helped me to just, recalibrate. So I continued finding some opportunities to hike, but if you can hear where I'm at right now, you might hear some different sounds, like people biking by or birds in the air, or the waves lapping next to me. And these are all things that really just help to, like, calm your nervous system. So I find opportunities. I don't have the time to hike every day, but I do have the time to walk outside in nature and in the sun. So I find multiple opportunities a day to do that, and it really has helped to carry forward that lower feeling of stress. So that's what I've been doing lately, and I don't know if that's something that's helpful for you, but I hope it is. So I know this podcast episode has been a little bit of a departure for me, but I thought it would be nice to be authentic, right in my element, walking outside, explaining what busy moms can do, like you and I, to practically lower that cortisol. But one thing to realize is it's not an overnight thing. The stressors are still probably going to be there. That's the problem, right? Like, it's nice to say, like, take the stress away, but we can't. That's life. So we have to teach our body to react appropriately to the situations. And when I came to it with that mindset, it made it, like, less personal, because sometimes you can be scared when you have those feelings and you're faced with, like, oh crap, am I going to feel like this all the time? Like, I don't want to face some of these things because it's scary. I don't have the time to do the work and whatever. But when you come at it like, oh, my body just needs to learn how to match the feeling to the stressor better, or to the thing that's happening better, I kind of removed myself from it and thought of it more of like a task to do, which really helped to reframe that for myself. So again, not sure if this is helpful for you. I'd love to know if you find these tips helpful in any way. If you could share this episode with another mom who might need to hear it, I would be forever grateful, because as the podcast is called Get Shit Done, we have to understand that as busy moms, that looks so much different. So right now, for me, getting shit done looks like figuring my shit out and learning how to like manage stress better. And so that's the shit that I'm working on right now. And I hope that this resonates with you. Anyway, I would love to invite you to join me in the Moms Get Shit Done Club, where we're constantly wading through our shit together. And I hope that this reaches you at a time that you need it. Take care. Hope you have a lovely week.
Well, that's it for me today. I'm likely needed for some mom duties right about now. Thanks so much for joining me for a chat, and let's do it again soon. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Brianne_McKenzie123 for more tips and tricks on how to get shit done.